Welcome to The Know. I'm Ashley.
I'm Mica.
There's been a major changing of the guard at PlayStation headquarters today, with Sony announcing this morning that Andrew House, the president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, you know, the guy in charge of PlayStation, is stepping down effective immediately.
Wow, is this a massive corporate shakeup?
I mean, at the very least, it's big news.
Yeah, is Sony freaking out about the impending release of the Xbox One X? No, probably not, but it does mark a significant shift for the company, as House has been with the PlayStation brand since the PlayStation brand existed.
Was a brand.
And it might even give us a couple of ideas about their focus in the future.
All right, so here's what happened. All this was announced via a press release from Sony this morning, where they said that Andrew House will no longer be acting president and CEO of SIE. Instead, he'll be transitioning into a chairman, which sounds comfortable.
Yeah.
As well as relinquishing his role as executive vice president and corporate executive officer of Sony Corporation. These guys get a lot of titles.
I wonder what their business cards look like.
They're very long. They have their extra size. They fold over and hand it over and then just...
E3 must be a nightmare.
It's tough.
And stepping into House's place will be Kdin, who will take over operational responsibility for SIE, including its game and network service businesses globally. He'll also report directly to Kazuo Hirai, president and CEO of Sony Corporation.
Game is powered by Namco. It's Ridge Racer. Ridge Racer. Remember that one?
Now, you might be wondering, who are these people and why should you care? Well, first of all, Andrew House stepping down is a pretty big loss for PlayStation and Sony as a whole. I mean, House has been at Sony for 27 years. He's been with the PlayStation brand since pretty much day one. In fact, he helped launch the original PS1 all the way back in 1995.
The days of
were you
old.
alive?
I was a year old.
There you, whoa, oh my God.
I know. Back in 2011, House was appointed president and group CEO of Sony Computer Entertainment, assuming overall responsibility for the PlayStation business worldwide. That meant he was the big driver for the strategy and direction of the PS4, which may go down in history as the biggest console ever.
Pretty good thing to have on your resume.
Yeah, thanks to how quickly it's catching up to the current record holder, the PlayStation 2. Wouldn't it be nice to hold a record with yourself?
Yeah.
It's currently set to hit 78 million total sales this year, rapidly catching up to the PS2's 157 million in lifetime sales.
That's a lot of consoles.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's also credited with launching PlayStation VR, so he's been around the block with PlayStation a couple of times.
Casual. So, who will be taking over all of his many duties? Well, that would be Kdin.
Who is this guy?
Who is this man?
Who is he?
He has been with Sony almost as long as House, joining up in 1992. No, I was not born yet. In more recent years...
Wait, he's been with PlayStation longer than you've been alive?
Yes. In more recent years, he's been working as the SVP of Corporate Strategy with Sony Entertainment Network International, where he directed and oversaw the launch of PSN as well as the PlayStation Store.
Now, on top of all that, he has been working very closely with House for the past several years regarding the integration of PSN and PlayStation 4 in general.
Everyone, of course, had some things to say in the press release about the upcoming transition. President and CEO of Sony Corporation, Kaz Ridge Racer Hirai, said, "When I passed the baton of leadership for Sony Computer Entertainment to Andrew House in 2011, I was confident that I was leaving the PlayStation business in the best possible hands, and so it has proved. I'm extremely grateful to Andy for the contribution he has made to evolving the PlayStation business and firmly positioning it as one of the drivers of our future growth."
Now, House added a few words of his own to the statement. He said, "I'm tremendously proud of what we've built with PlayStation and Sony Interactive Entertainment, entertaining millions globally with the best in games and creating a fully fledged digital entertainment company. PlayStation has been a huge part of my life for more than 20 years, but with the business having achieved a record-breaking success, now seemed to be the right time for me to pursue new challenges."
And Kdin said about his new role, "It's a great honor to take on the role of President and CEO SIE, and I'm very grateful to Kaz and Andy for the trust and faith they have shown me. I intend to build on the amazing progress Andy has made, enhancing the PlayStation brand and expanding the game and network service businesses, and will strive to further strengthen the unique value proposition we are able to offer via the PlayStation platform."
Now, for those who've been long-term fans of PlayStation, you'll know that House is another old guard member to step away from Sony. That list is growing all the time. It happens. That's called history. In recent years, it's included the likes of Jack Tretton, the former CEO of SCEA, Shahid Ahmad, the head of strategic content for PlayStation, and Adam Boyles, the VP of developer relations.
All of those departures have happened over the last few years, which sometimes could spell trouble on the horizon.
If you get too many of an old guard leaving all kind of at the same time, that does tend to be cause for concern because you're not sure what all the new people are going to come in, and it's really typical in business for the new guy to come in and like to make a mark. They'll either cancel a bunch of things or completely change the direction just to make it their own, and so that can always be worrisome if you're on the consumer end of that.
Right, but that doesn't necessarily mean that things are bad over at PlayStation or that there's any cause for concern about the business moving forward. In all actuality, it could be that people are stepping out while they're on top of the world, so that's usually when your stock is highest if you want to pursue opportunities.
Yeah, you can say, I did this. This was great.
You know the whole PlayStation thing? I did that.
Now, knowing Kdin's background with PlayStation Network, the PlayStation Store, it's kind of interesting that Kdin was the one chosen for this role, but I guess it's not all that surprising. Live services and digital revenue is where consoles make a lot of money, and those margins are increasing in the times of modern gaming, where they're charging the exact same price without the need to manufacture or ship stuff.
In fact, it's making so much money for their games and services category that it's basically keeping the entirety of Sony as a company.
Not PlayStation,
no,
but Sony
afloat. And they're projecting that its profits will continue to rise over the next fiscal year.
Yeah, it's hard to tell how much they made from PSN alone in 2017 because it's combined with hardware sales, but we do know that in 2016, Sony made more money from PSN than Nintendo makes in a year.
Oh!
Or made in a year prior to the Switch coming out. Chances are that the whole landscape is changing.
Right.
But we are talking Wii U era Nintendo here. Regardless, that's big for a single category to make more than one of the other gaming giants.
So you could say that in many ways, Kdin's division has been one of the biggest money makers, percentage-wise, in all of Sony, which is damn impressive.
Good job, Kdin.
Yeah, good job, Kdin. It makes sense that he'd be picked to lead that PlayStation vision going forward and could spell some good things for the PS5 or a network-focused machine or, bad things if you hate the PSN.
Yeah, or if you're upset that prices are not any lower for being digital.
Right.
Big question though, coming from the sort of live side of things. What's his stance on crossplay? Because
riddle me that, Kdin.
I bet Xbox wants to know.
Yeah.
The timing of the transition to a new PlayStation president could also signify that things are getting ready to ramp up on PlayStation 5 in the next few years as well, and could indicate that that is going to be the major focus for the console, which I guess isn't any huge surprise since that's the direction everything is headed.
If House knew he was going to be moving on to other opportunities sometime in the next 2 to 3 years, it would make sense to make that transition before things got too crazy with the announcement hype and machine leading into Sony's next new console.
And if that is the case, it's probably best for the company that he does so now rather than in the next couple years or right before the console comes out, or like we saw it with Xbox, right after the Xbox One comes out, and then no one likes the Kinect and no one's really happy because they did the whole 24-hour thing, and then you get Don Matrick going peace, and then you get Phil Spencer still trying to recover. And now it certainly wouldn't look good for Sony if the president of PlayStation left in the middle of that process and caused a similar kerfuffle.
But of course, that's just wild speculation. However,
wild speculation.
We do know that Sony is indeed working on the machine. PlayStation executive Sean Layden said as much in a post-E3 interview earlier this year. There also have been some analysts pegging its release for sometime around 2019 or 2020, which are going to have the cool Millennium glasses again. I'm so excited for when it's 2020.
You're just excited for the
glasses?
That's
yeah,
why
screw
we're
the
hoping
PS5.
For the yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how things unfold with someone new at the helm for PlayStation, to see what sort of tweaks and direction they take. We can probably expect to see Kdin taking the stage at both the upcoming Paris Games Week, when Sony is expected to make some big announcements, as well as PlayStation Experience in December.
So what do you guys think of this major changing of the guard at PlayStation Corporate? Is fresh blood needed for Sony? Do you think they all have really cool hats just like the guard? Let us know in the comments.
And for future updates on all things PlayStation and cool hats and guards, remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel.
I feel like I need to sneeze. Okay.
You can do it.
I don't know.
Do it?
Nose pressure and my nose won't sneeze.
If you look at this thing, it's like cantaloupe.
Cantaloupe.
I think it's
cantaloupe. It's not working. All right.
Okay.
We'll just risk it.
We'll see how it goes.